Awesome. Good evening, everyone. So just so everyone is well aware, we will not be having USAC live tonight because we are having technical difficulties. Instead, the recording of this meeting will be uploaded. Great. Okay, we will be moving on now to any amendments to the agenda. Council members, if you have any amendments, please go ahead and raise your hand and Cass will call on you.
Haley?
I have to strike the SAGE module presentation and the resolution honoring LGBTQ community at UCLA again.
Okay, got it. And Herman?
Hi, can I please add a resolution in support of the plaintiffs in Pay v. Los Angeles Community College District, LACCD. I also put it in the chat so that it's easy to put in the agenda.
I'm just gonna type that really quick. And then, okay, I got that. And then Jenny?
Hi, can I strike capital contingency?
Yeah. And Promise?
Can I strike park allocations, please?
Got it. And then Momina?
Can I strike SFS? Thank you.
Okay. And then I'll be changing my office report to written. And then also I think I'm supposed to add an asterisk on the resolution, so I'm gonna add that. I think that's all the amendments, please.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cass. With that, I will go ahead and ask for an approval of the agenda. So can I get a motion, please?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Promise motions are on seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Great, and by a vote of 10 to 0 to 0, the motion passes and the agenda for this week is approved. Moving on to the approval of last week's minutes. The meeting was for the 22nd of February. Can I go ahead and get an approval of those minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from February 22nd.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Cass motions, Haley seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Great, and by a vote of 11 to 0 to 0, the motion passes and the agenda for last week is approved. Or the minutes for last week are approved. Great. Moving on to public comment. Public comment is a time for any member of the public that would like to come and speak with council to let them know of any ongoing issues. Remember to use respectful language, use gender inclusive language, you have the opportunity to speak once for 2 minutes, and please go ahead and keep your hand raised when you enter the room and I will go ahead and call on you. Great. So we will go ahead and open public comment now and Cass will promote you. Thank you. Great. Radha?
Hi everyone, it's great to see you all again. I hope week 9 is going well for you. My name is Radha, the chapter chair of CalPERC Students, the student-run organization that works to protect the environment, college affordability and promote civic engagement. And I just wanted to give a brief update on our annual lobby day that we had this week. We attended 60 lobby meetings with our state legislators where we delivered 10,000 petition signatures to ban single-use plastics in California and discussed saving the bees and making textbooks affordable. Some of the legislators that we were able to meet with included UCLA Representatives Isaac Bryan and Ben Allen to discuss these bills. And at a wrap up for the day, we joined Assemblymember Laura Friedman, who is a champion of AB 2026 to ban single-use plastics in e-commerce packaging to save our oceans. And it's so great to see students all over our state joining together to talk to their elected officials in order to make our world a really better place to be. And we're also working to help pass an LA County ordinance that would phase out single-use plastics and want to work to pass a USAC resolution in support to show a broad base of support for the issue. And we emailed all of you this morning to discuss, so look out for an email from Stephen Ruiz. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Radha. Kayla?
Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I'm Kayla and I wanted to ask for you all to support the resolution that's going to be presented later on, which is the resolution in support of the plaintiffs in Payan versus LA Community College District. This case, you'll get a rundown later, but this case essentially deals with two college students who are both blind and they attend a LA community college and they were falling behind in classes because the school that they attended didn't offer audio versions of their textbooks. So obviously they couldn't have access to class material. And this is both a transfer issue as it deals with LA Community College District, but also a disability justice issue because essentially these students weren't given access to materials that they needed to succeed in higher education. And both of these communities already face systemic and institutional barriers as students were not given the chance to succeed at the same rate as their classmates because they literally couldn't access their textbooks. And this is also an equity issue too. And I hope that you all can support this resolution in any way that you can and show solidarity with the disabled students and also transfer students in their journey towards higher education and access to education. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Kayla. Great. I don't see any other hands raised. So going once for public comment, going twice. If not, I will be closing public comment at 7:15 p.m. Great. Moving on to funding. Jenny?
Hi guys, I hope your week 9 is going well. This is the link for contingency programming. This week we have $8,750.89 to 10 non-USAC entities.
Thank you, Jenny. Can I get a motion, please?
I move to allocate $8,750.89 to 10 non-USAC entities.
Can I get a second?
I second.
There are motions or seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Great, and by a vote of 12-0, the motion passes and the contingency programming for this week is approved. SWC, oh, I don't think SWC is here. Bag, Sarah?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to strike it earlier.
No worries at all. Angie, ASRF?
I am getting the numbers for that. Can you come back to me?
Okay, TGMF is next as well. Are you ready for that one or not yet?
Can you come back to me for that as well? Sorry.
Of course. Just go ahead and message me and yeah, we can come back to you. Just go ahead and take your time with that. TGIF? Oh, I don't think Jane's here. Great. So we'll be closing funding, but yeah, and just let me know when you're ready. Moving on to reports and updates. So first off, for my office, I'll keep mine really brief. I've been in attendance with the resuming COVID response and recovery task force meetings. In that sense, right now we're discussing what it's going to look like next quarter. It was discussed that how we could continue to have a discussion around having students wear masks next quarter. And there was discussion around some students, the Disabled Student Union bringing forth a discussion or a letter to this task force that, that masks should, not mandating masks in classes would like further isolate this population. But thereafter, this task force also said that there were students on the other side saying that they were tired of wearing masks. So yeah, that's an ongoing issue. And I have communicated this with DSU. So we'll keep you posted on what continues to happen in the task force on that end. And in the gender recognition task force, which is a task force that was just initiated, we kind of just discussed putting forth different funding proposals for like the work that we're going to be working on related to gender inclusivity on campus. I still don't know as much because this was the first meeting, so it just happened earlier today, and we'll keep you posted as there are going to be pretty frequent meetings. But yeah, I will be sending out later today. There are a few like task forces I got invited to, and if folks might be interested in them, I will be assigning different task forces, because I feel like there's a lot that were just like released recently. So yeah, look forward. I hope y'all can like sign up for some of them that I might send out in the coming days. So yeah, that's it for my office. Cass?
I'll pass it up to Sarah because I need to write mine.
Sure. With my office this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we had the immense privilege of hosting the first UCSA board meeting in person for the first time in 2 years. And that was really great to see all the other EVPs and their delegations. Just some updates from that meeting. First, we received a presentation from UCOP on the state budget, and I guess the main takeaway that applies to us here is that the composition of the UC revenue has changed a lot, and it's become a lot more reliant on student fees, in particular non-resident tuition, which is kind of counterintuitive because the UC is aiming to cut non-resident tuition, and it would not be supplemented enough by the increase in state support. So that is one of the resolutions that we passed, is a resolution against cutting non-resident enrollment numbers. Some other resolutions that we passed that you might see adopted that I'll be presenting in the next few weeks is a resolution in support of CAS protections, something passed by Berkeley, resolution in support of reparations, and then finally, a resolution that was not passed, but something I think is important to bring up is a resolution in support of the UC Berkeley appeal to the California Supreme Court. So if anyone's been following that lawsuit, Berkeley is in the middle of a lawsuit that involves CEQA and an enrollment freeze. So this is a really timely issue because admissions are coming up soon in a couple of months, I believe, and they still have that freeze on them. So that's an issue to be watching closely as we see whether or not the injunction is granted. Aside from that, my office hosted the LA City District 5 debate yesterday. That was really exciting. We had 104 people come and some really great conversations with the candidates. Thank you to those of you who came and supported. I really appreciate it. Then we also sent a couple delegates to the UC Berkeley Policy Summit. I mentioned this a little while back, but the EVPs usually have a quarterly meeting with UC President Drake, but he tries to combine our meeting with the UC like graduate council. And this is not something we want because we want to maximize our one-on-one FaceTime with President Drake. So instead we chose to boycott it and have this policy summit instead. That went well. We got to work in a lot of working groups. And then finally, this is something that Armand will get into a little bit more when he presents his resolution, but I want to drop a quick ask for public comment regarding LACCD versus PIAN and the Americans with Disabilities Act. So if y'all wanted to just sign that petition, we'll get into it a little bit more later, but that is all from my office. I'll pass it to Angie.
Thank you, Sarah. The biggest thing is that the Academic Senate responded to the DSU about their demands on remote learning modalities. I received a letter over the weekend from Shane White and Jessica, who's the vice chair, and they basically just like detailed the specific academic freedom like policy and just like explain like a lot of philosophy on academic freedom and how it's a nationwide thing that's implemented within like universities across the nation, and just basically called for universal access at the end of that letter. But that's not the letter that they sent out to students. That was just sent within the committee, the exec board committee. In the letter that they sent to DSU, they never really actually addressed why mandating dual modality is against academic freedom. And they basically just committed to meeting more regularly with the DSU. So it was a pretty vague response. And my office and DSU is working on a response currently. In terms of other things in my office, we're working on a social justice mentorship program. We reviewed all the applications and we will be supporting and funding about 5 social justice projects in collaboration with USC and their academic affairs office. I also had a meeting with the UC-wide Academic Affairs Council, and we talked about UC-wide issues regarding remote access and accessibility and accommodations for parenting students. And we, some other folks in my office and I also had a meeting with the Committee on Undergraduate Commissions and Relations within the Academic Senate, along with a few members from the TSR office to discuss adding an extra student rep seat on the committee for a transfer student. And we learned more about the process of changing the bylaws for that. So we will be beginning that process so that it can go into effect next year. And we're also looking into having student reps on Academic Senate serve 2-year terms to ensure just continuity within the committees. Yeah, and working on like transition packets for that. But that's basically it for my office. And I will send over the numbers right now in the chat for TGMF and ASRF.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and do that. I think we're done with officer reports. So then we could, are you ready to put it now in the chat, Ange? Or like say them out loud and then we can just make sure that no one has any issues and we can move forward?
I just have to do, I can do TGMF first. I still have to calculate.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. We can come back to you.
Okay, sorry.
No worries. Okay, George.
Hi, everyone. There's a lot of stuff happening on the alumni side. It's always trying to figure out what's very prudent and important things for you all to know, since we have a lot of alumni. Most importantly, we have our upcoming Alumni Association board meeting this Saturday morning. So I'll be there in person to provide my updates on the work that you all been doing the last couple of months, which was a lot. Other than that, just wanted to remind you all that there's a Changemaker Summit. So if you're interested in equity, diversity, inclusion type of work, especially if that's something you might want to do in the future, definitely check it out. And then there's a bunch of other events, but there's too much to list through. So I'm just gonna try to forward this to you all in a way that just makes sense over on the Slack. Other than that, definitely want to open it up again, an invitation to have a chat with me, your alumni association rep on USAC, since I'm here as a support and as a resource for you all, as a collective as well as individuals. So if you're free and if you're interested, definitely hit me up and we'll find time to talk and figure stuff out. That's it.
Thank you, George. I appreciate it. I might be able to go, but also it's my mom's birthday, so I probably won't be going.
Oh, go to your mom's birthday. My goodness. There's not a question. Please,
yeah,
please go to your mom's birthday.
I'll be joining remotely, but yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited.
If you can, maybe send me like some bullet points on what you definitely want us to hit. Would be very helpful.
Perfect. Yeah. We definitely have a lot to talk about after Murphy, so it's gonna be crazy. Great. Okay. Moving on to Josh.
Hey friends, happy Tuesday, March 1st. I can't believe it's week 9. Hey, just a friendly reminder. I know that each week quorum seems to be getting harder and harder. So I just want to remind you all, just make sure that you are showing up on time. For our colleagues that are not present at this meeting so far, let's remind them as well. And also just remember to submit your weekly reports. For the past couple of weeks, it's been pretty light. Not everyone has to do verbal reports, but we do want to make sure that we are updating the public on what is happening. So just a reminder to make sure that you are still submitting your weekly reports and showing up to this meeting on time. Thanks.
Thank you, Josh. Orlando?
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Quick update. Seoul will be hosting its second workshop this Thursday. It will focus on event planning and best practices workshop. It's a student panel. 4 organizations will be registered campus orgs will be present. 3 undergraduate and 1 undergraduate group. I'm sorry, 3 undergraduate groups and 1 graduate group. The panelists will be talking a range of topics such as recruitment, member engagement, success programming, and successful collaborations with on and off campus entities. So if you are available or if you would like to just pass this information along, I dropped it in the chat. But yes, it'll be on Thursday, 4 to 4:45, and there is an RSVP link. So hope to see some of you there.
Thank you, Orlando. That's very helpful. Great. Moving on to Fernando.
Hi everyone. Big update today is I'm pretty sure that the surplus is just about done being processed. So either I'm going to reach out, or you can also reach out to us about accessing those funds and actually activating and using them within later this week or the following week. That's it.
Thank you, Fernando. That's really exciting news. Yay. I don't believe Patty's here. And are you ready?
Yes, I am. I put them in the chat. For TGMF, it's $5,645 to 7 non-USAC entities. And then for, oh wait, sorry. I think, do we vote on that one first?
No, we don't vote. It's just like if anyone is in opposition to it. So is anyone in opposition to allocating that amount? Seeing as there is no opposition, Ange?
And then for ASRF, $8,238.51 to 10 non-USAC entities and 1 USAC entity.
Is there any opposition? Seeing as there is none, great. Both are approved for this week. Okay, great. And moving on to a resolution calling on UCLA to support students impacted by the recent invasion of Ukraine. You have the floor.
Yeah. Should I share my screen or?
And can you drop the link and then you can also share your screen?
Okay.
Fernando's having some issues with his computer tonight, so he won't be able to share 4 folks tonight, just full transparency.
Okay, no worries.
And are you able to share or?
My computer is really slow. Like my mouse is not really moving right now. I don't know if y'all can hear me though.
Yeah, I can share it. So my issue is with my graphics card and USAC Live part. So I can share it. Thanks, Josh, though. So I'll share it.
Great. And I think, and you can read through it, or we can just kind of read through it ourselves. And thank you so much for bringing this forth. I was actually thinking about this earlier today.
Yeah, of course. I can go ahead and I don't know. What do y'all want? I can read through it, but also like y'all are free to also read through it as well.
Angie, if you read it, it goes easier in the minutes. So
Okay.
I would suggest that.
Yeah. Okay, so this resolution is in support of academic leniency and more resources, and just calling on UCLA and university administration to acknowledge what's happening overseas, because it is affecting a lot of our students here at UCLA. So I will go ahead and just read through. And Haley, Jane, let me know if y'all want to take over at any point. But whereas Russian military forces invaded Ukraine on Thursday, February 24th, 2022, attacking Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, after the nation's failure to surrender their country to Russia's control. Whereas informants from the Pentagon have reported over 100 missiles launched into Ukraine. Whereas Putin's decision to advance Russian forces wields the potential to cause mass displacement of civilians in Ukraine and destroy the livelihoods of thousands. Whereas the security of Ukrainians have been compromised by occupational advances from the north, east, and south, attacking the grounds by air, sea, and the land, which has led to a growing number of civilians at Poland's border fleeing the violence. Whereas Russia's use of tactics of misinformation to the global community with regards to the trajectory of its advances in the name of demilitarization and denazification negatively impact local and global communication networks' ability to inform the public. Whereas amidst unsettling uncertainties, students are transitioning into the last few weeks of winter quarter, which is when course loads are typically heaviest with assignments and finals. I don't know if Haley Jane, you want to read the last page?
Yeah, that's fine with me. Whereas students have families and relationships to those communities in Ukraine facing displacement, heavy military presence, and the mental and physical consequences of the invasion, whereas students directly and indirectly impacted are unfairly expected to perform and prioritize schooling while under the immense stress of navigating how to support their loved ones impacted by the invasion. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council urges the Academic Senate to encourage departments and instructors to provide academic leniency to students who need accommodations with regards to assignment submissions, flexible due dates, and other self-defined academic support. Let it be resolved that the Academic Senate encourages instructors to disseminate resources to students in light of the uncertainty and impending implications of the invasion. Let it be resolved that administration provides counseling and wellness resources to students, staff, and faculty to process the events unfolding. Let it finally be resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council commits to continue their advocacy efforts for and with students impacted by the invasion.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great. Do any folks have any questions or comments?
Can I motion?
Yes.
Oh.
Probably amazing.
I motion to approve a resolution calling for academic leniency for students impacted by the invasion of Ukraine.
Great. Can I get a second?
All right, second.
I think that was Natalia. So Promise motions, Natalia seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Great. And by a vote of 12 to 0 to 0, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. Thank you so much to Ange for bringing this forth. Great.
And also just wanted to shout out Haley and Jane for co-sponsoring for writing as well. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Angie. And thank you to Haley and Jane. Great. Moving on to Erman. Thank you for bringing this resolution forth. I'm looking forward to learning. So Erman, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat. So just give me a sec to grab that right quick here. Okay, and actually, if someone could promote Abiha Hussein, who's in the attendees, that would be great. But yeah, just to like introduce the resolution, this is a resolution in support of the plaintiffs in PNB Los Angeles Community College District. I just want to give a shout out to Sarah and Carl for supporting me on this resolution and helping out on it, as well as support from the UCSA Transfer Advisory Council, Radar, UCLA, who presented about disability justice last week, and the Transfer Leadership Coalition for their work on this as well. In terms of presenting the resolution, I am going to pass it off to Abiha, who is the vice chair of the UCSA Transfer Advisory Council and a first-year transfer here at UCLA. So Abiha, I'll pass it over to you.
Hello. Can I share my screen to show the resolution, or?
She can, right?
Cool.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Can everybody see this? Okay, cool. Awesome. So basically, this is a resolution in support of the plaintiffs in PNB LACCD, or the Los Angeles Community College District. This was a resolution that was similar to one that was presented earlier this week on Saturday at the UCSA board meeting that was actually hosted here at UCLA. This is a more like UCLA specific and UCLA like centered version of the resolution. So you'll see a lot more points that point to why this court case is especially more important to us as UCLA in the greater Los Angeles area, which is where LACCD is situated. So yeah, I'm gonna start reading it. Whereas the plaintiffs in PNB LACCD, or Los Angeles Community College District, brought their concerns regarding course material accessibility to the federal district court in hopes of taking legal measures to ensure an equitable and educational experience for disabled students. And whereas the two LACCD student experiences directly represented in the case, Roy Payan and Portia Mason, fell behind in their coursework due to the inaccessibility of web programs such as My Math Lab, library resource resources, textbooks, and more. And whereas the plaintiffs moved twice to the Federal District Court and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the LACCD was required by Section 504 of the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, to accommodate the specified complaints brought forward by Payan. And whereas this came with a statement that Section 504 and the ADA were specifically intended to address both intentional discrimination and discrimination caused by quote unquote thoughtless indifference and quote unquote benign neglect, such as physical barriers to access public facilities, meaning that LACCD is working against the interests of the disabled community by appealing to the Supreme Court of the United States to reverse the precedent of Section 504. And whereas these barriers to systemic accessibility are barriers that not only affect Payan and Mason, but blind students as a part of a larger disabled community who seek an equitable education in LACCD institutions. And whereas the Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at LACCD claims to be working towards quote unquote supporting an environment that reflects, complements, and meets the needs of the diverse student population, yet actively works towards uprooting the precedent set for Section 504, effectively creating grounds for disabled students to be victims of unintentional discrimination and not have the legislative support to fight it. And whereas the alternate media protection policy at LACCD already quote unquote requires that instructional materials purchased from third parties, such as textbooks, may be made accessible to students with disabilities, that the college must proactively evaluate the accessibility of its instructional materials, and it established a process by which students with disabilities may request inaccessible materials to be reproduced to them in an accessible format. And thus LACCD is violating its own policy to make course materials accessible. And whereas students of LACCD constitute nearly 3,000 transfer applications to UCLA in just the fall of 2021, representing a significant amount of transfer students seeking admissions to our university. And whereas LACCD is located in the greater Los Angeles area, meaning that UCLA is the most geographically accessible University of California campus. And in the aggregate, UCLA would lose eminent voices of disabled transfer students from LACCD because of the reversal of the case's current status. And whereas the disabled students in institutions under LACCD would continue to be disserviced for years to come by being given less resources to complete their education in community college and transfer to a four-year university. And whereas upholding of the lawsuit would allow the LACCD to actively disregard a student's approved accommodations even after their efforts go through the proper channels to request and get their reasonable accommodations. And whereas the change in precedent of Section 504 in the ADA could give way for institutions, including the University of California system, to deny accommodations to the disabled community under similar reasons to LACCD. And whereas the Board of Directors of the University of California Student Association, UCSA, at their February board meeting, both condemned LACCD's plan to file a petition with the Supreme Court of the United States in Payan v. LACCD, and reaffirmed their support of the disabled community and the California public education system through the resolution sponsored by the UCSA Transfer Student Affairs Officer and the UCSA Transfer Student Advisory Council. And therefore, let it be resolved that the Undergraduate Students Association Council, USAC, condemns LACCD's plan to file a petition with the Supreme Court of the United States and Payan v. LACCD. And let it further be resolved that USAC acknowledges the intersection of disability justice and transfer justice in this critical court case, and the significant impact that disabled students would actively be denied an equitable access to the transfer pathway and a four-year degree. And let it finally be resolved that USAC reaffirms its commitment to advocating for the needs of disabled students by publicly supporting the plaintiffs and Payan v. LACCD through various advocacy efforts, including addressing its concerns at the March 2nd, 2022 LACCD Board of Trustees meeting. I just said a whole lot of words. However, basically the importance of this is that not only is this an issue that concerns just the LA Community College District, this is going to, in the aggregate, concern the University of California system, the CSU system, and then also just nationally, because the ADA is just responsible for so many institutions. And so many institutions are responsible for the ADA being followed. And so uprooting what 504 stands for means uprooting disability justice and the ability for the disabled community to rely on legislative change in order to get the accessibility measures they need in an education. And this is completely against educational equity. And that is why I personally believe, and as a part of the Transfer Student Advisory Council and UCSA, believe that this resolution is critical for USAC to pass. And yeah, I will pass it back to Armand.
Thank you so much, Abiha. Yeah, definitely just want to reiterate that aspect of the intersection between the disabled and community college student identities, and how like being a transfer student can definitely compound like the experience of being a disabled student in this type of setting, and that pathway can be further exacerbated by all these issues. And in accommodations not being given, transfer students will not only be affected at their community college and LACCD, but their entire experience in the transfer pathway becomes affected, in addition to the broader implications that this court case has for ADA 504. So yeah, I also just want to say that I can send the information as well for the public comment tomorrow. It would be really amazing if y'all could share that with your office, and anyone who's able to go can go out and speak to LACCD Board of Trustees about why it is really important that we support the plaintiffs in this court case. But yeah, happy to take any questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Arman. Does any council members have any questions? If not, thank you. Oh, Natalia?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put my hand down.
Okay. Thank you so much, both Abiha and Arman, and thank you for educating. I myself personally did not know about this ongoing issue, so thank you so much. And yeah, I don't know if you put it in the chat already, LOL. I'm not. Oh yeah, you did, I think. But yeah, just so we can be informed and, you know, be able to have some of people from our offices attend, hopefully. But thank you both so much. Great. Can I get a motion, please?
I move to approve a resolution in support of the plaintiffs in Payne v. Los Angeles Community College District.
Can I get a second?
A second.
Arman motions and Tali seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Great, and by a vote of 12 to 0 to 0, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. Great, okay, I think that is all. I don't see anything else on the agenda. So with that, I will be adjourning this meeting at 7:49 p.m.